There you see the debate, Paul, there in Las Vegas. UNLV want to go straight to the spin rooms right now. Our Cecilia Vega with the Clinton campaign. What are you hearing?
Well, George, they are chalking this up to the best debate so far for Hillary Clinton. One source was just telling me that they feel like she bravely confronted women by quoting Donald Trump using his own words. They are really hot and bothered, though, right now about his rigged elections comments, using words like unacceptable, a rejection of the American electoral standard. Those are the big issues for them, George. I also got to tell you that hombres line that Donald Trump used did not go over well, not just with the Hillary Clinton campaign, but from Latinos. I've heard from people tonight who tell me they were crying, they were offended, downright disgusted by the way he used that word on that stage tonight.
Yeah, and that was trending on Twitter for a time. Cecilia Vega, thanks very much. Let's go to Tom Yamas there with the Trump campaign. So, Tom, are we getting any kind of explanation from the campaign on whether Mr. Trump will accept the results?
Well, so far, kind of quiet on the Trump front so far. One senior-level source tells us they thought it was a tie, but that Donald Trump, of course, did well. They always say that after every debate. We know his campaign manager right now is in the spin room. We do not expect Donald Trump to come out. But, George, one thing we have to understand, one of the strategies we were told coming into this is that they wanted to rally the base. Yes, it's less than 3 weeks before Election Day, but the Trump campaign knows they have to get Republicans out there. And that whole mantra of this rigged election, he's been saying it since August. And, yes, it was astonishing. It was an incredible moment today, but it's something he's been saying since August. He does not like to reverse himself. Think about how many years it took him to come around on the birther movement and President Obama. This is something he's not going to back away from, even though his own daughter and his running mate have said different, George.
And John Carl, you're in the hall there as well, but also in touch with Republicans and other elected officials across the country. What are you hearing?
Well, we are hearing virtually nothing from Republicans on the general thrust of this debate, but specifically on this question of accepting the results. We heard from two senators, very strong words. Republican Senator Jeff Flake said that was beyond the pale when he wouldn't commit to accepting the results. And then this from Lindsey Graham, a statement. Lindsey Graham, Republican of South Carolina, said Trump is doing the party and the country a great disservice by continuing to suggest the outcome of this election is out of his hands and rigged. And he says this, George, if he loses, it will not be because the system is rigged, but because he failed as a candidate.
Okay, John Carl, thanks very much. Matthew Dad, of course, those are two senators who already have been against Donald Trump right there, but we'll see how others as they come in. But even Laura Ingraham, radio talk show host, has been a strong supporter of Mr. Trump, said he should have said he would accept the results of the election. There's no other option unless we're in a recount again. So let's set the stage right here, right now. We have 20 days to go. The three debates are done. There are no other big events that are planned in this election. Hillary Clinton came in with about a 6-point lead, if you look at the average of the national polls, leading in all the battleground states. Did Donald Trump do anything tonight to change that dynamic?
Not a thing. My guess is from this debate, Hillary clearly won, in my view, won this debate. It was her best performance of the three she's had. Donald Trump does well. He did well in the first third, as we've seen in other debates, and then falters in the final of it. I think this is going to continue on. This whole idea that he wouldn't accept the results is going to continue on. I would expect Republican officials around the country in the day and days ahead to come out and say, Donald Trump, you cannot say that. You need to accept the results of this. But this debate was a clear win for Hillary Clinton. She has the lead. She is actually in the process of running out the clock. And unless some unknown event occurs, Hillary Clinton's going to be elected President of the United States.
And David Muir, there seemed to be a subconscious moment there for Donald Trump. I don't want to be an armchair psychologist, but towards the end when they were talking about Syria, said lots of luck with that, Hillary.
Lots of luck, Hillary. The hashtag already out there all over Twitter. And, you know, all of us have been together during all three of these debates, and you can't help but to notice how much this has devolved from the first one. I mean, they came out, they shook hands in that first debate. The second one, they came out, they approached, but then did not. And tonight, they didn't even go near each other on that stage. If there were a fourth debate, one of them might be coming in via satellite. But at the end of this, you saw them leave the debate, and you wonder, George, whether they were going to shake hands. I think there's going to have to be a lot of healing after what Americans have witnessed, regardless of which side they're on, given just how nasty this has become.
Of course, Martha, you did moderate the second debate.
Yeah, I wasn't with you then. In spirit, I was.
We were with you.
Yeah.
It did seem at the beginning of this debate like we did have a slightly different Donald Trump. He was in control, on message, relatively disciplined.
For about 29 minutes, I counted, about 29 minutes. There was much more substance at the beginning of that debate. I mean, I found myself really listening to what both candidates were saying, but then suddenly it just turned at about 30 minutes. And And you got to wonder tonight, when he starts reading the tweets, when he starts reading things, what his reaction will be to what he said in that debate, whether he doubles down or whether he says, I don't.
Well, we're going to get some more on that right now. We have some more reaction right now from the Trump campaign. I see Tom Yamas right there in the spin room. Tom, tell me when you have Kellyanne Conway. Of course, she is Donald Trump's campaign manager. Is she with you now?
She's not here just quite yet, George. She'll probably be making her way over here in a few minutes, but
we'll keep
it was
an
an
eye on
extraordinary moment. Okay.
We'll keep an eye on you. Tell us as soon as she comes in. But Cokie Roberts, one of the things when you go back to the beginning of the debate right there, Donald Trump was giving the answers. One of the things you saw pretty clearly, he was really speaking during those answers, even the cogent ones, to a Republican primary audience.
Absolutely, and getting this kind of feedback that he's been getting in his rallies, where he does gin everybody up and they respond enormously to these questions about a rigged election and the crooked media and crooked Hillary and all of that. And he was doing it in terms of policy as well. On the question of abortion, for instance.
And Matthew Duddy, you saw a few times in the course of that night where Hillary Clinton starts to talk about her main theme of us working together, the country being stronger together. Does she pick up on the point that you talked about at the beginning of this race in these final 20 days to start to talk more about how to heal the country after the win, which she right now is expecting?
Well, I was actually surprised. She was very aggressive with Donald Trump. She had and I agree, she very much prepared for this, had distinct answers, went directly at him in this.
And then he said, what a nasty woman.
Yeah, such a
nasty,
nasty woman in this. Her last answer was the answer that I thought I was looking for most of the night, which was basically, I'm speaking to Republicans, speaking to Democrats, and speaking to independents. So I think she concluded with it, but didn't do it throughout.
She didn't do it throughout. We'll see what happens in the final 20 days.